the 3 months common mistakes that I can tell by 14 years doing making websites is uh, talking about editors and writers is that they think when they start building a website or thinking in a website, they think that they're gonna write a website for a book reader, or people will start reading, 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 and basically, it's that's the first mistake that I see, and it's really common that they send me like probably 35 pages of content, and then realize that we don't need that much because you don't want to give everything that you have inside to your clients. You want them to come to you and ask you questions and ask you what you think about this or that. You don't want to put everything in a website, except when you write blogs that you can give some information and some helpful information. But other than that, that's the very first mistake is that when editors come and says, here are 35 pages. I want to put all the documentation and all the PDF that I can, like probably 60, 70 documents that writers can download and have access to. That's probably the biggest
Because
mistake that I.
so too much copy and too much free content, maybe. Not leaving enough space for whoever's visiting the website to ask more questions or want to know more.
Correct. Correct. And that closes your windows of opportunities to make business or make your business grow, just giving that information then, and then they can just go hire someone else and bring your information to them and say, hey, I want what this lady's saying, but I want you to do it because you're cheaper or because you are closer or whatever. So you
That makes
close
sense.
this, you don't close the circle of that sale. You just give the opportunity to someone else to take that information or the tips that you're bringing with all that text to someone else. And that's unfortunate though, because probably that someone else don't have that much information on their websites. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
But
interesting. I had never thought about it that way. And by the way, I'm taking notes so that I'm going to put them in the chat because I'll share the chat as well later. But this is really good. I think sometimes as editors, when we've been talking about website building, we've been talking about what problem can we help writers solve, or what problem can we help our clients solve? And sometimes maybe we're over delivering, like you're saying, and we're missing that business opportunity because someone else, they can take that information and go somewhere else with it. So that makes sense.
yeah, the second most common mistake is probably thinking that you have the skills of a professional web designer, and probably you have skills on how to manage your business. And that's amazing because what you have to look when you're searching for a right web designer, someone that get that connection with you. So the design turns in your ideas turns in their design. And sometimes those clicks don't happen because the designers want to put or input their own design style on top of what the client wants. And searching for the right designer, it starts with that right click. When you see their work, when you see their reviews, when you see actually their communication skills, if they like to communicate via email, phone, or if they are available or not, they have to tell you if they're going to be available or not. Um, Communication is very important. So, second mistake is uh, most of editors think that they can start the websites, which is great. It's okay. It's amazing. But if you want to start strong, you have to start in the right path and give the chance to the professionals to take that part of your business that you are not so knowledgeable. Let's say it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So
I remember when you looked at, so I had built, when I started off, I'm very much a do-it-yourself person. And I knew I wanted a website. I researched everything out there. I wanted to do it myself, and I decided to go with WordPress. And I said, okay, I'll watch a couple of YouTube videos to teach me. And they did. but the couple of YouTube videos became hours of YouTube videos, and I'm having to rewatch the same video 10 times to make sure, because any step that I missed, I wasn't getting the result that I needed, or I was having issues. And then I had anticipated 2 weeks over the Christmas holidays, and it took me about a month. And I was so happy. And then one day I met you through somebody else, and you looked at my website and you're like, it's a beautiful website, but it's made for someone like you. It's not made for someone like your client. And I remember that being really eye-opening, that I had done a good job, but I wasn't trying to hire myself. I was trying to be hired by other clients. And instead I was creating a website just for myself. So that was really interesting. And then when I did the math of how long it took me to study and implement and build my website, if I had taken an editing job instead, I would have probably made more money that would have afforded me to pay for the website. So it was a no-brainer. And I just see that Brittany joined, so let me let Brittany in. There we go. Okay. Hi there, welcome.
Brittany.
Hi there. I'm sorry about that. I'm having some technical difficulties.
No worries. We just got started. Brittany, this is Carlos. You know Jody.
Carlos.
We are on point 2. We talked about, I'm posting little by little some of the notes in the chat. So Carlos was just covering like what's the second mistake most service providers make when they build their website. So Carlos, I'll let you continue if you have more to say about that, or if you want to move on to number 3.
Really quick for Brini, the very first mistake that editors, or through my experience, I have experience with editors and writers, is the I want to say overabundance of content in their websites. It's overwhelming sometimes, and at the point that people don't need to contact you because everything is in your website. So at the end, decide to keep going with their editor they have, but with your ideas and everything that you have on your website. So the first message is not too much content, no all the content that you know or you have to, because you have to leave the opportunity um, for the client to contact you. You don't want them to just read and read and read, or get tired of reading, if that's what's going to happen. Just give the opportunity to the business and let them, if they want to know more, they can reconnect with you. It's good to have all your portfolio work or some example, really the best examples of work, but not all the knowledge that you have there, because you pretty much helping someone else that is not professional, is just amateur, to edit their own books with your tips. That's my point of view, and that's the error number 1, is too much content in your website, and too much documents too, because editors love to share PDFs and documentation that they have. And I did this with my certification, and that's fantastic, but you shared that by request. Probably people is contacting you because they found you on Google, but or in Yelp or whatever. In the case that happened, they already took kind of the 50% of the decision to hire. They just want to read a little more and contact you and have a phone call with you and get that. We're gonna jump to the second mistake, and is have that connection with you, and then is when your website make a big role, so people get engaged with you. If your website is it's a beautiful, stunning, crystal clear website that goes straight to the point, and it's no cookie cutter, let's say that way, your website will be successful, because you're practically taking your client from point A to the B very smoothly. Like, okay, you found me here, you read my content, which is very straight to the point. It's like you're talking to your client straight. And then the next step, what is the next step? Is contact me. So that's what the first 2 mistakes happen. And it's when the frustration starts, and I get those phone calls saying, Carlos, first of all, I see my analytics and people is visiting my website, but they're not calling me. They're not contacting me. It's because they don't have engagement through the website. They don't trust a website that doesn't look professional. They look more like Apache and amateur. And yeah, I don't want to do business with someone that can write amazing or can edit my writing, but doesn't represent the way I want to be. So it's just um, that's the that's the second effect. It's just to hire the right web designer for you, the one that makes a click, the one that their design style fits you, and the one that also can provide you with the right budget. Uh, that's also important. Of course, there in the now times there are many options for the web designer to get the client, even if the budget is low, because we have Afterpay and we have Karma and we have Vimo that people can actually make 4 payments without interest, and that makes it smoother the expense of hiring a good web designer instead to hire a cheap web designer. Um,
Yeah.
that's pretty much the first two is like less content, good web designer. Because if you know how to web design, or if you were a web designer before to be an editor, that's pretty awesome. You have two skills already. So that's really great. But do you know how to make that website that you built accessible, for example, or optimize it in Google in a way that Google can understand what you are telling the people in your website? So those other skills probably you won't have it. You probably will know how to build it, but you need help with something else. So
Carlos, can I interrupt you for a second? Regarding that, when you say Google can't understand your website or doesn't know how to show your website to potential people, can you explain the connection? Why this is not why this is important, because I think we understand why it's important, but what does Google do once it sees our website content, or I don't know, what is it? Is it the coding? Is it the SEO? What happens there? What's that connection?
well, the first thing that happens is when you have your content, you provide that content to the designer. The designer start building the website in a way that that content is how to say, so in regards of the client experience, how the client will land on the first page, how they're gonna catch their attention. They wanna know who the editor is. So we have to put that out there right away. Uh, and the second step is to tell Google that the action that the client wants to take is to contact you. So when Google reads first is like, okay, this is an editor's website. Who is the editor? It's the first point, because people probably will search for an editor, and Google and the listing will show, yeah, book editors in California, but probably won't say the name. You want your name to show there together with the results. Um, that's the first part. The second part is Google don't understand a website that don't have the right tags inside of the website. And when I say tags, I don't want to sound like too technical, because I hate that programming part, um, and the coding and stuff. I don't want to talk about that. Um, it will take so long. But the right tags mean is like when you go through a book and you start putting your post-its on the book, and you stop reading there, and you make your notes in the post-it and you put it in this page, and you go to the other page and you put those post-its are not for you, that help you to understand the book where you leave it before. So Google do that with your website, and it depends of the professional designer to put those right tags in each page, so Google understand what that page is talking about. So when people is searching and the search engine, those tags are the first one to say, hey, in this page of this book, we have what this guy is looking for. So those tags are very important and talking about Google presence.
Okay. Okay, great. So it's a way for when we build our websites, depending on how we build them and the tags that get placed in different places, is how Google is going to be able to pull that information from our website and show it then to someone else when they're doing a search on Google for an editor, basically.
That's correct. It works pretty much like the post office. They need your address in order for you to receive all the mail that you're getting. So, but the post office needs your address, but they also need your name, and they also need to know where that location is, etc. So that's that neighborhood, that city, that zip code. they don't deliver a simple letter if you don't put the zip code, because there's a difference in between North Redondo Beach and South Redondo Beach. Two different, you can say I live in Redondo Beach, but two different zip codes. Um, and that's what happens usually with a website. You have to put the right directions in how you want the client to serve inside of the website so they take the decision and contact you or book you.
Excellent. Got it. Okay, good. And number 3?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, because I think the third mistake that editors make probably is choosing the wrong color palette. And that has to be a lot with design. You probably love green, but strong green and red, and because you feel that those are strong colors and you're gonna demonstrate what you, or you're gonna put your own soul in your website. I appreciate that, but sometimes that doesn't work. Uh, you have
Yes.
you have to go through um, trends. Usually, that's what is now people liking most. And I can tell you that because my business starts in 1993 uh, as a marketing person, and in that marketing, I was directing a team that was making ads for Yellow Pages in Miami, and the colors in Miami in 1993 were yellow, pink, and probably a very hard turquoise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and green, teal green, and so those colors were in 1993. Everything was that way with the flamingo on the side. Yeah, you now go to anything in Miami, because I build websites for people there, and the colors are the same, but way, way, way softer, like extremely soft. The same colors, same flamingo, but in a different way. So things have changed since we remember what we love. Uh, Now the designers, so probably the um, updated design that we keep learning and going in trainings and stuff. We get those insights on how people is loving the websites to serve with, and if they open a website now, we it's so bad that when people open a website that have those strong colors, they literally shut it down and go and keep searching, because that website was strong enough to, they don't even read anything. They just close it. It's too strong. So web design, and let your designer to show you those trends. Probably one of those trends you will like, because you are checking the website now. You are checking apps every day. You are reading in your social media every day. So you see those colors that you like now different than what your colors are. And the third mistake and or common mistakes that I see is the client selecting uh, the wrong color palette for their project.
Mhm.
This is this is probably inside of the second and third mistake is people love to have their logo like half of the size of the screen, and because they think that they want to have that presence, and probably saying um, it's not a bad idea, but that's not how it works. Uh, as you as you editors, you know that we start reading from left top to the right to the bottom and to the top again. That top, usually the logo there or in the middle, in a very small size, it tells you more than having a huge, because you're probably gonna skip it in the reading. You're gonna go to the menu and go down to the content. You're gonna skip it because it's too big and you don't wanna see it. You don't wanna remember it. But if you have it like a little detail, and it's like when you get to those houses and you see that plant that has nothing to do with that wall, but it's beautiful there and it looks beautiful. You get that in your mind and record it. So the next time you come back and you don't see that plant there, what you gonna see? Or what you gonna say to the owner of that house? Where's that plant? That was beautiful. It's the
Yeah,
same thing with the logo or your name. Your name is irrelevant. I don't want to say that, but it's irrelevant in a website because they are already there. They already click on the listing on Google. They know your name. So when they land on your website, your name, make it big or huge, it's irrelevant anymore. People want to go to the content to see what you offer. Uh, the name at the end, it's just a name.
that's true. That I really like that. Because I think that's one of kind of the hard truths that we're not told, and I really like what you're saying about trends. It kind of reminded me of like when I was growing up, that hospitals were always like white walls with gray painted up to the half of the wall, and everything was so sterile and boring looking. And then if you go to hospitals now, they have the pastel colors, they're relaxing, they have plants. So it's changed to make the environment more desirable and making you want to be there. And it's true, sometimes I'll be going to websites, and if they're too loud or too intense, I'll just walk away from it. I'd rather, try something else. So one of the things I do want to mention is that I just I just Googled nonfiction book editors in Los Angeles. And because you've been working on my website, Carlos, I'm showing up at number 5. And the other ones are all companies, are like Reedsy, Upwork, so I'm really happy to be mentioned there.
Now you can
Carlos,
go
before
to La Mejor website on 14 years after and go to lamejorwebsite.com and you can see so many, 150 websites in my portfolio out of probably 850 that I have made since then from all over the world. I have clients in Australia, in New Zealand, and China, and even in Russia. I have a designer. I made a website for Gucci that they need a landing page. I'm making website now for financial companies like Kimley and other big companies that provide financial services. Um, so I feel very comfortable with my clientele now. I don't need to knock doors. Now people knock my doors and I love to help. I always see them like equals because we are professionals in our way. And that's how we create relationships instead of businesses, like more humanized. That's
Yeah,
that's that's been me since then.
definitely. And Carlos, what platforms do you work on right now?
I'm certified and I'm gonna start from the old one to the new one. I'm certified from Joomla, e-commerce, Oscommerce, OpenCart, WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, and Weebly. If you need help with any of those platforms, I'm knowledgeable and I'm updated in any of those 7 platforms.
And I think, don't you, like, when the last time we talked, weren't you here with Wix? Because Wix was having a big event, an update of, it was like a full day update or training or something like
Well,
that.
Wix is my favorite platform uh, because it's flexible with design. And that matters allow me to move elements in the way I want it much better than doing it with code through WordPress or through third-party apps inside. Wix have like a big range of um, options for me to design, and that's why Wix is my favorite. Recently, Wix upgrade their editor from a regular editor for regular users, and they create an editor named a Wix Studio for um, developers like me, like with a more detail oriented, with different effects, with more beautiful touch ups in their websites that it wasn't possible before without coding. Now you can do all those ready to go. They're yeah,
Awesome.
they're my favorite.
Right. And so because we are past our hour, but I want to be able to get those 3 pieces of advice that you might have for editors, what we can do better or differently with our websites.
Well, if you already have a website, take a look again and let's see if you made one of those 3 mistakes that I mentioned before. take a look on it. If you have those hard colors, if you have the right choice of fonts, if your tags are in place, if Google is reading your website and putting you there or exposing you. Uh, the first recommendation is to take a look of the three mistakes mentioned before. That's the number one recommendation. Just take a look, be conscious about it. I know rebuild is hard, and probably you want to say, well, but this website is already there, and you know I like it the way it is, but it's really selling for you. It's really bringing you the clients that you want, or it's just for your ego to say, I built a website and it's there and I made it myself. That's something that you have to intro, put it into you and say, is this website giving me clients or not? Or is this website looking amazing like my other competitor or not? Is this website competitive or not? So you have to think about that. That's the first step, is just to recognize if it's good and you decide that it's good, awesome, keep going. The second recommendation is um, the website can be awesome, but you need to be on Google. No matter what, Google is the king. There are other search engines there, but Google is the king. No matter what people tell you, Google is the king for any search, any type of business, any type of professional. So you have to think about that too. Like, okay, I have my website, I love it, but I need to hire a professional to tell me what to do with this, with all this I have that is not even in the third page on Google. That's very worrying. You
Mhm.
have to be worried about that. Like, okay, I need help. I need help in this. And probably that's going to be affordable. You don't even know. You probably are afraid of the old school price that you hear there. There are web designers that are charging thousands of dollars monthly to say we are maintaining your SEO, and um, SEO means search engine optimization, and uh, most of people think, oh, okay, so I have to pay thousands of dollars a month, and that's not true. Um, and responding to your question, my my focus since I opened my business, it was to level up like a small businesses to the field that big business have with the low budget. And how I do that is just putting my knowledge and experience on there, so the websites have the same reach, the reach of the people that they need, and everybody get a piece of the cake.
Mhm.
Um, So in that case, pay attention to Google, check it out again. If you are in the like like Linda did and check her on, and it was fun that she found herself. That's beautiful. Uh, check yourselves too. I'm talking to the other editors. Check yourself and nothing bad with that. Um, the that will help your business to improve a lot. Um, Getting a good professional for the SEO. You don't need to pay thousands of dollars. I charge just a fraction of that one time, because an SEO is something that if you do it right the first time, you don't need to do it often. You just need to make it like every time your website have big changes, like a big change.
Mhm.
You have to let Google know, hey, Google, I did this, or I add this 17 new blog posts. Okay, so we need to work a little more in your SEO again, but it's not something that you have to pay monthly. That's important. That is something that you don't need to hire anyone to tell you how your website is performing, because that's part of the that's part of our job, is to train people to understand how the website is performing. And most importantly, are you getting those phone calls? Because you are the first one to pick it up. So keep an eye on the presence of Google. And the third one, really quick, is in order to improve your business, also try to be competitive a little bit inside of your website. What I mean that is, like, if another editor is offering something, you don't need to be exactly like them. You can be yourself and say, I'm more organized. I'm probably more experienced than this person, but he's presenting the business better in a way that people is hiring them. Uh, you don't need to be like anyone else. You have to be yourself. Be yourself. The website is a reflection of yourself, and and make it the same way for the client. When the client see your website beautiful and clean and readable and beautiful fonts, and you respond the phone call like, "Hi, how can I help you?" Then they will say, "Okay, is this Brittany and or Linda?" Yes, this is it. How can we help you? And be nice and be polite and respect the client's time, like you said. And I'm pretty sure you guys do that. But I just want to make sure that the website reflects that when the client decides to call, they expect to continue the experience that they have with the website inside of a phone call and engagement. So just pay attention because I have clients that they call me and they say, Carlos, I'm not getting any clients. And I go to the insights and I see that they are getting phone calls and clicks to the contact page and everything, and even forms filled it up because I can have access to those informations. And they are not getting the client. They just the clients don't even hang up. They just hang up. It's the way they pick up. Maybe they are in Home Depot, maybe they are in and we have to figure it out. When is the right time to contact and continue the experience that they have on the website? They took the decide of call the phone number there. Those are my three tips.
I love it. And that's, we've talked a lot about that. And we're going to be talking about that with this group next week, actually, the next 2 weeks with about personal communications and how we're presenting ourselves to our clients, first, especially first time clients. So that was awesome, Carlos. Thank you so much. You guys, most of you that joined a little bit later don't know that Carlos is on his way back to Arizona. So he's on a road trip from LA to Arizona. So he's had to stop at a Starbucks to take our call today. So I don't want to hold him up too much, but does anybody have any pressing questions or anything that you'd like to ask Carlos that we can?
I don't have
yeah.
I don't have questions, but I would love if Brittany or um, our other friend has some questions for me. That would be great. I also can offer them if they want, of course, I can offer them a free um, scan of their websites to see if I can offer my recommendations just to be present in this phone call. They just need to provide me with the link of their websites, and I can just without any problem just scan it and see what I can recommend to them and
Awesome.
see um, if I can help in any way.
I put your email address, Carlos, in the chat box so that everybody has access to that. But does anybody have anything that you would like to ask Carlos now?
I just really quickly wanted to say thank you so much, Carlos, for this. And I love how you emphasize how important it is for us to be ourselves, but at the same time, find that balance between being ourselves and recognizing kind of what the current expectations of people are when they go online, because it really is like there are trends in terms of the aesthetics of websites or the organization of websites, and how they look at different times, and it's something that we really do always want to be like kind of unique. Like, I'm myself, I have all this information, and I love that you really emphasize that you know not putting all of your information out there can actually be a good thing because it can help draw people in, but also recognizing that we can be unique in ourselves without going so far that we like turn people off because we have a quirky aesthetic or something like that. So that's very helpful for me to hear.
That's that's fantastic that you mentioning. Linda recommended me a friend of hers or a colleague. Her website is named bythebyediting.com, bythebyediting.com. If you can tell, you can take a look of it. Um, I enjoy working on this website.
I'll put it
I
in the
love the fonts. I love how smooth it looks like. And Sarah was very I want to say open to make a big change, like a huge change from what it was and from the The only thing that we keep from the old website is the logo, the books in the corner. By the byediting.com. You can take a look of it, and
Yeah,
you're gonna see.
Beautiful.
it is. It's beautiful.
It looks awesome. I love that.
So it was it was a good um, partnership with Sarah creating this wonderful website. She already had the content in the old website. We just reposted it in a way that it looks wonderful. And as you can see in the top menu, it's really simple to go over prices and the next steps, what to expect, and then connect. That's how we manage the flow of the client, and it's how it's been doing good. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, and it's really simple, and it's exactly that. It's not too much. It's like just enough to pique my interest, to want me want to be like, I like the feel, I like the vibe, I want to reach out to her to ask for more. So you really are on point with that. I think that's really, really good. Jody, I
Yeah,
think sure.
I'm sorry. To finalize with Brittany,
Yes.
um, and I'm showing you this website, Brittany, because she, this is herself. This is Sarah.
Right.
She loves that kind of flowers and the smell of um, eucalyptus. And she told me all those things when we were talking, and I include that in the website in such a way that when you scroll down and you see hello, this is me in the porch of her house. And she told me this picture is horrible, Carlos. It's like it's not professional. It was taken with a cell phone and at the porch of her house. And I says that smile is you. And when people wants to shop, they want to talk to the person, not to someone that is hiding. And we just put a couple of frames there. Looks really nice. So
It
yeah,
looks
be you.
beautiful.
Yeah, it looks really great, really nice. Jody, did you have a question?
I didn't. No, I don't have anything. Thank you for
Okay.
asking.
Great.
Okay.
Catherine, I think you have.
I just wondered, regarding color scheme. So because up till now, my website doesn't really have a color scheme except for what's in the photos. And I just wonder, do you think it's really important to really have a color scheme? I mean, you need, probably, I think you do, but I'm just wondering about.
Thank you, Catherine. That's an amazing question. And my way to respond to you is check Versace websites, check Gucci websites, check um, Fendi. All those are black and white websites. But if you pay attention, they are not 100% black or not 100% white. There is a ton of blue or dark green or different color scheme that play with the pictures of the products. They want to pop the products colors, not the content, because they don't have pretty much content. The people shop. In our case, it's different. In our case, we are editors and we want to present the clients our content the best as possible. So in this case, a color scheme probably won't be needed much, except if you want to reflect your own, like we did with Sarah. But if you want to put up there, I want to say the choose of the right fonts is what it matters instead of a color, because you want to emphasize in a website, it's totally different than in a book. The way you read in a website is completely different than in a book. So the choose of fonts is key in a website, sure, more than a color.
Yeah, and Catherine, for me, like my website, because I live near the ocean, it was important to project casualness.
And we talk about that
Yeah.
in the beginning.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. Do we want to talk about that? Yes, let's talk about it.
Can I follow one thing up with Carlos about, because you just said about fonts? Is there like one most important thing we should know about fonts? I mean, I'm imagining that they should be clear and not get in the way, probably, right? I mean,
That's actually also connected with your own writing and what you prefer, your preference are. Like, for example, if you are a man, I'm talking about, I have Ricardo what is his name?
Ricardo,
Linda
yeah, our fellow friend here from
Stanton?
Los Angeles, Ricardo Stanton
Salazar.
Salazar, yeah.
So Ricardo also redesigned his website with me, and we made the revamp of the website, basically thinking on his writing. So the choice of fonts in his website was also based on old school, because he says, I'm not a new school, I'm more like a teacher or like a college person. So we
Mhm.
basically took that, and we went through books, and we checked trends, and we found fonts like that it was more accordingly to what he wants to show to the public.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Usually the designer get that uh, six, I want to say 6 cents of what the client wants. Linda never told me that she wants beachy pictures in her website. She never told me that, but she told me that she loves the beach. So I put a couple of pictures of the beach there, so it reflects the spirit of Linda there, the ocean stuff. So that that part, it goes in the first point of this meetup today, is choose the right designer. Choose the right designer, and that communication um, needs to be very important. Like, to catch up, to identify. Linda knows some. I know a lot of things about Linda now. I know that she loves cooking. I know that she loves plants. I know that she loves hiking. I know that she loves her family. And that's basically transparent to me. When she called me, I have the freedom to tell her, hey, I'm playing right now with my kiddo. It's not okay if we talk, but I need to pay attention to my kiddo, or something like that. Is You have to establish that relationship with your designer. In regards of the fonts, let the designer decide. If you don't like him, thank God we can change anything on the website. So if you don't like it, just tell him, hey, I don't like this font. Can we change it for something like this, and show him something that you like? That kind of communication is very key, and be happy for everybody.
That's true. That's really true. Yeah. Yeah. I remember when Carlos showed me the website for the first time, there was my face plastered right on the front. And I was like, no, I don't want to look at me on my website. He's like, yeah, but you're not the one visiting the website. He's like, you're not going to be on your website. It's other people, and they want to know, they want to get that vibe that you have. And, the picture shows. And I remember I showed it to Brittany and a couple of other editors. I'm like, what do you guys think? And everybody's like, oh my God, we love it. It looks great. It works. And so it really took getting out of myself and trying to see my website as my 24/7 storefront that anybody could access at any time. And they could get a really good sense of who I was as an editor. So
Same thing, Linda, with Ricardo. He don't want it to be in a picture. He says, no, no, no. And if you go to stanton-salazar.com, that's his website, you can see him there right in the spot when you open it. That's the guy.
and that's how he is too. Like, that picture is exactly, if you met Ricardo before, that's exactly who he is. So yeah, yeah, it's great. And Carlos, by the way, I have been posting all the links to those websites we talked about in the chat as well. So
Awesome.
I'll be copying that as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, any other questions for Carlos? I think we're good. If we have any follow-up questions, Carlos, I did put your also your
Email.
address. Is it the sales@lamejorwebsite.com?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so we have that in here, and everybody knows how to reach out to you. Thank you so much for stopping and
Thank you.
time for us
Thank
today.
you.
This was awesome. I think we all learned a lot, and I think we're all excited to hop onto our website and start making some of these changes. So hopefully we'll
Thank
be
you so much. Thank you so much,
Carlos.
guys. Take
Thank
care.
you, Carlos.
Thank you.